See, these kind of videos are the ones I like to do. These are the ones where I don't have to like write a script for like questions I'm gonna ask and stuff. It's just stuff that I'm passionate about and I can just ramble about because the topic is in itself fucking stupid and fun. And that's what I love about Dragon Ball. It's fun. Dragon Ball is it's fun. It has like lighthearted moments, deep moments. It's got everything. It's great. Today, given the idea from a conversation I had with a friend of mine last night, I want to go through the 20 plus transformations that Saiyans have in the Super Saiyan evolution and the offshoots and that, because I love an offshoot transformation. I do. I love that sort of shit. Like, if we take Naruto, for example, there was a filler arc that had like a pseudo Nine Tails chakra form where it was kind of like going off and on, and I'm like, yeah, that's my shit. That's my shit. I love that. But today we're talking about Dragon Ball, and I want to start off with Great Ape. So Great Ape is the original form that Saiyans can take when they transform and look at the moon. So that form is really used in the earlier stuff of Dragon Ball. It's not really used later on because, you know, they get the Saiyan ability, the Super Saiyan ability, and they're able to transform and use the speed of those forms rather than the big bulkiness of the Great Ape forms. But I do have to point out the Great Ape forms are actually still very, very strong. And if you're fighting a big enemy like Hirudegan or something like that, if you would use the Great Ape form, especially with the later on power levels of like Goku and Vegeta and Broly and all this shit, you could easily just go Great Ape and kick the shit out of Hirudegan. But, you know, it's past when it's used more prominently. So now we're in the Super Saiyan era. But yeah, Great Ape, it's a great form, fun form, good shit. But moving on, now we have some of the offshoots, and we're not quite at Super Saiyan yet. We are sitting at False Super Saiyan / Pseudo Super Saiyan. Now this form arrived in the Lord Slug movie for Dragon Ball Z, and it was originally touted as, this is Super Saiyan, and everyone's like, oh my god, it's Super Saiyan. We're gonna finally see Super Saiyan, and they saw it, and they're like, wow, this is incredible, this is crazy. But this movie was put out when the manga was still going, so Super Saiyan had, I think, 30 chapters beforehand or 30 chapters after this had been revealed of what Super Saiyan actually looked like. But for the time being, in in the animation world, this was what Super Saiyan could have looked like, but eventually then they moved past it. It has its iconic weird tinged hair, like sort of reddish. It's got the yellow aura, but the pupils are gone. And as we know later on, the Super Saiyan form doesn't look like this at all. But it's a cool little form that, to my knowledge, hasn't actually been adapted into any games, apart from, like, you know, your Dokans and your Super Cards and stuff like that, which is a bit of a shame. Another fun fact about this form is, in the movie Dragon Ball Z Broly, the legendary Super Saiyan, when baby Broly is saving his father, he kinda looks like Pseudo Super Saiyan, which is a fun little Easter egg there. Another statement that could be said is that it's a failed Super Saiyan, but it's just a little fun offshoot, which I quite enjoy. So moving on to the next one, we actually have one that appeared in the anime only, and the backstory of this is it was an animation issue. They didn't realize they wanted to show Goku in his Super Saiyan form so early on, so they had to recolor his hair. And this form is called Partial Manifestation Super Saiyan, or as it's called in other medium, Super Saiyan Power. So it's just a Saiyan who has the ability to go Super Saiyan, but uses like such a low level amount of the Super Saiyan power. It spikes the hair up, and Goku's the only one who's done it. It's not technically an official transformation, more of like a little goof on the animation side of things, but it has been adapted into games and stuff, and if you consider the games to be valid transformations, then this one is part of it. So, moving on to the next one, we have the iconic Super Saiyan form, which everyone knows. And so from here, it'll get a little murky. People are going to be a little confused about what the transformations past this are actually like. But going into what the original Super Saiyan form is, it's caused by when there's a high amount of emotional stress and the Saiyan in question has an incredible amount of like physical prowess and is like physically able to handle the transformation. At this point in the story, when Super Saiyan is introduced, the hair is a lot more jagged and smooth. There's not a lot of detail in the hair. It's sort of a raw form of Super Saiyan, and this transformation only occurs maybe twice in the story, because after that, Goku, Vegeta and all that, they learn how to control the Super Saiyan form, and it's very, very different later on. And you'll be looking at forms later on that look like regular Super Saiyan, but are in fact a different grade of Super Saiyan. But this form is used eventually in the Dragon Ball Z storyline, when obviously Frieza kills Krillin and it causes Goku to freak out and turn into a Super Saiyan. This form is all about anger and rage. It's uncontrolled, it's very raw, and later on when it is controlled, you can see key differences in facial detail and facial expressions as to what the difference between this Super Saiyan form is and later on. But moving on to the next one, so next up we have Super Saiyan Ascended. Now I'm going to put up and use an image of Vegeta, because Vegeta has like to me personally, the most like resonating look of what Ascended is like, you know, because a lot of these are going to look like, you know, Goku and Broly, and, you know, I want to change it up a little bit. So this is Vegeta in the Ascended form, and in this form it is stronger than the original Super Saiyan form, not by a great deal, but it is definitely like quite stronger than the original Super Saiyan form. This is when it's starting to get mastered. You're getting a lot less of the anger side of it. It's still triggered by anger, because that's what Super Saiyan is, but when you get to grade 2, Ascended, you have a lot more control over your mental state. You're not blinded by anger. It's still there, but you are in a greater control of what it should be. And then, moving on to the next one, you have Ultra Super Saiyan / 1.5 Super Saiyan, or grade 3 Super Saiyan. Now this form can actually get really confused with what the Broly form is, because it does resemble it a little bit, but this form is used by Vegeta and Trunks. So their muscles grow bigger. It's the physically strongest form of the Super Saiyan side of things. So from Super Saiyan to Super Saiyan 2, if you want to look at it that way, this is kind of the strongest one out of the traditional Super Saiyans. So it's got the physicality, it's way stronger, but it is incredibly, incredibly slow. In terms of, you know, Dragon Ball fighters, that is, it is still fast, but it is astronomically slower than what is needed at that point in the story and going forward. It's not viable in a fight, which is a shame, but it is a lot of fun to see, and Trunks does look very good in the form. He technically has 2 forms of the 1.5 Super Saiyan form, much like how Vegeta does. Vegeta in the games has 2 transformations in this form, known as Super Vegeta and Super Vegeta 2. The hair gets a lot sharper and a lot more straight and angled, is a way to put it. But yeah, Trunks, has that form as well, and can go Super Trunks and Super Trunks 2 in the Budokai Tenkaichi games. Can't really do it in the later games, but just a little fun fact for you. So that's grade 3. So moving on, we have Super Saiyan Full Power, or grade 4. So this form is very interesting, because this form is the one that is used primarily in the Cell Saga between Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan, when they're able to just stay in the form without it having so much stress on the body. And it's a really cool point of detail. So at this point, Super Saiyan Full Power / grade 4 is when you've mastered Super Saiyan, obviously. So you can stay in this form and it doesn't cause a huge amount of stress on the body, but something that I looked up when I was researching this is that if for any reason that a Saiyan was unable to get out of this form and they were just stuck in this form, eventually it would actually drain the lifespan of the Saiyan, because while it does have a lower stress on the body and the toll that it takes, it is still insanely stressful for the body. But when you've mastered it to to the extent that Goku, Gohan, and Vegeta at that point had, it's not as draining as just activating the original Super Saiyan form in general, because that thing is sapping power like you wouldn't believe. So this form also, when going into the facial expressions, doesn't have the rage that is generally associated with the Super Saiyan forms. You can have a lot more control. You're not... what's the word? Sorry, Cal. So this form has a lot more control over the Super Saiyan anger. So you'll see a lot of the characters not having to be constantly in a state of looking like they're in pain or pissed off. It's just a lot more laid back and chill, so that they can have a greater control over it, physically and mentally, and not have to worry about the bad side of it, being blinded by anger, which is a cool aspect to the Super Saiyan full power form, or grade 4 if you want to look at it. Okay, so next up we have Super Saiyan 2, or if you've been following along with the grade system, it's grade 5 Super Saiyan. Now this form is iconic for those who watched Dragon Ball back in the day. So this form is the one that Gohan first unlocks out of every other character. Gohan is the first one to unlock it. It has the sharper hair, it has the one bang hanging down, and the lightning around it. This form is used during the Cell Saga, when he just kicks the shit out of Perfect Cell, and then when he comes back as full power Cell, it's a bit more of a fight when he gets injured protecting some of the Z fighters. So this form is way more powerful than Super Saiyan full power, and in terms of the grading system, obviously it's grade 5. This one has held up really well in the annals of Dragon Ball history. Everyone loves Super Saiyan 2, especially when it was first introduced in the Gohan fight against Cell. That, to a lot of people, is like the highlight of Dragon Ball. Because at that point, you'd seen the evolution of what Gohan was, and from the kid being shy and scared of being, thrown into fights, and now having to have the weight of the world put on his shoulders, defend the Earth and kill Cell. And it's just a really cool form. So that is the progression. You get to Super Saiyan 2 grade 5, and then it's gonna get a little weird from here for the next couple. So moving on, I didn't really know where to put the next couple. I felt like it'd be weird if we were referring to these forms after Super Saiyan 3, because we're not quite there yet. So I've decided to put them here because they are just referred to as Super Saiyan. They're not like a Super Saiyan number, and there's no grade system for them. So I'm putting them here. So first up, we have Legendary Super Saiyan. Now this form is only used by the original Broly in the Dragon Ball Z Broly Legendary Super Saiyan film and the sequels, unfortunately. So the first film, great film, introduces the Legendary Super Saiyan. Now, the Legendary Super Saiyan in the canon of like power scaling and all that is actually stronger than Super Saiyan 2, which is, crazy to think because of how astronomical the power up between full power and 2 is. Legendary Super Saiyan has no drawbacks and is able to constantly evolve and grow. A Zenkai boost in Dragon Ball is really important to understand. So when a Saiyan is defeated in battle, they don't actually get a Zenkai boost during the fight. They get a Zenkai boost after the battle is done. The bodies have settled down, and the cells in their body draw in what the body has received in punishment, its muscle memory, and then it draws that into power and increases the strength, the agility, and all that of a Saiyan. And that's what a Zenkai boost is. But that's after a battle is done. Legendary Super Saiyan, and Broly in general, don't have to wait until a battle is done for the Zenkai boost to be activated. That is just concurrently going during the fight. That's why he's constantly overcoming all the fighters in that movie and constantly getting stronger and able to just outdo them. The form also doesn't have a speed decrease. It doesn't have really any drawbacks. It has the insane muscles of 1.5 Super Saiyan grade 3 or Ultra if you want to call it that, but also builds on that. It's incredibly strong, and it just could wipe the floor with Super Saiyan 2 because of its Zenkai boost inherent ability built into the Legendary Super Saiyan form. So that's Legendary Super Saiyan. Next up is a form that is used by Kale in Dragon Ball Super, which is called Super Saiyan Berserk. Now, people think that this is Legendary Super Saiyan. It is not. It is just Legendary... Sorry, my apologies. It's Super Saiyan Berserk. This form looks like it, but it is definitely not, because it doesn't have the Zenkai boost that is built into the Legendary Super Saiyan form. It just has an incredible amount of punishment that it can take. Now, Kale is the only one who can do that at this point in the story, and it caused a lot of people to think that Broly wasn't going to get introduced into the canon, but thankfully, the creators of Dragon Ball and the Dragon team thought that it would be best to actually include Broly. So Super Saiyan Berserk is Kale exclusive. It has a huge boost. It can stand up to Super Saiyan 3 quite easily because Super Saiyan 3 has a huge amount of drawbacks. And it's a lot like the Ultra Super Saiyan 1.5 Grade 3 form, where the muscles in the body are just hugely amplified. It has a huge power boost, and in terms of speed, it has a little decrease in speed, but it doesn't have anything near as bad as what 1.5 does. So you can kind of understand where it's kind of weird to put this here, but it's technically just a Super Saiyan form. It's not a Super Saiyan 2, it's just Super Saiyan Berserk, which is, it's a weird one to wrap your head around. Like, even me, I'm still like, I don't know what the fuck this form is. I don't know what it was just to make someone look like Broly, essentially, for a time being, until they actually introduced Broly. So next up we have Super Saiyan Rage. Now this is used in Dragon Ball Super by Trunks, and it loses the pupils, much like Berserk and Legendary Super Saiyan and False Super Saiyan. The pupils are gone, the hair is spiky like, kind of like 1.5, but more like Super Saiyan 2 Trunks. This form also has a almost godlike blue aura within the traditional Super Saiyan yellow aura on the outside, which gives it a distinct look. It's a very interesting form, I'll say. It's kind of weird where the placement is, because Super Saiyan Rage takes out Zamasu, like, it kicks the shit out of him, despite the fact that it shouldn't, because it's just a Super Saiyan form. In my head canon, because there's not really any information on Super Saiyan Rage, in my head canon, Super Saiyan Rage is when a Super Saiyan is surrounded by God Ki energy, or Ki, or, you know, that Ki and Chakra, all that sort of stuff. That's just what I think makes the most sense, because it doesn't make sense that he could get that huge of a power boost without becoming Super Saiyan Blue or God. So that's why I think that it's kind of like a mix of like partial God Ki energy into Super Saiyan, which gave him a little bit of a boost. But yeah, that's really all the information we have on this form. And as you can see, it's kind of a funky looking form. So next up, is I'm gonna do Super Saiyan 3, because the next ones are really weird, and I've kind of put them in power scaling going forward at this point, but not, if that makes sense. So we're just going to do Super Saiyan 3, and I'll explain it later on. So Super Saiyan 3 is that iconic long hair Super Saiyan. Eyebrows are gone, hair is super long, it's got the lightning aura of Super Saiyan 2, and it is fucking useless. Super Saiyan 3 is so goddamn useless, it's really upsetting that it's so cool looking, but it's so useless. Later on in the Battle of Gods / Battle of Gods arc, Goku has kind of worked on it a bit more, and it doesn't suck up as much energy as it normally would, as we saw in the Majin Buu saga, but it's still just not viable. Like, if you master Super Saiyan 2, you don't need to use Super Saiyan 3. It has like a big increase in power, but it still drains so much. It's the fastest form of Super Saiyan. I do have to say that and give it that, that little nod, but the drawbacks to Super Saiyan 3 are much like Super Saiyan 1.5 or Ultra. It's just not viable in a long-term fight. Like, you could go into it to show that you could do it, but you can't really do enough with it in a meaningful way without it just completely wrecking you for the rest of the fight if you're planning on going a long time, which, Goku and Vegeta obviously do. But Vegeta hasn't ever unlocked it, or from what we've seen. It's appeared in other media for Vegeta, like Raging Blast 2 has Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta, it also has Super Saiyan 3 Broly. And yeah, it's crazy that this form is so powerful, yet so, just so inherently wrought with so many issues and drawbacks that there's no point going back to it, which is one of the most depressing things about some of these forms, that once you get past them, there's no point going back to them. Like, even if you were to train in Super Saiyan God form to then tap into Super Saiyan 2 God form or Super Saiyan 3 God form, it's just going to draw more power. Super Saiyan 3 is inherently it's just going to suck the life out of you, essentially. So next up, going back to getting a bit weird, we have the form that Broly uses in the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie called Wrathful. Now, this form is kind of the humanoid embodiment of what Great Ape is. It is so powerful, it stands up against Super Saiyan Goku. It bodies the fuck out of God, which is a crime, if I'm being honest. But this form is the inherent strength of Great Ape condensed into the humanoid body, and it packs one hell of a punch. It's bullshit how much of a punch this fucking packs. But yeah, this form, it's unique only to Broly. You could say that it kind of appears in the original Broly material, the Dragon Ball Z Broly, a legendary Super Saiyan film, where he's kind of in a suppressed Super Saiyan form, which I'll chuck up now. It's kind of got like a bluey purple hair, depending on the lighting of the scene. But yeah, you could kind of say that's Wrathful form back then, but adapted into the nowadays. But yeah, I had to chuck this in because it's still important to the Saiyan biology. So next up, we have Super Saiyan Broly Full Power. Now, you're probably thinking, well, shouldn't this just be Super Saiyan Full Power? It's technically not. It's technically its own transformation, and once again, exclusive to Broly, because Broly is Broly. Broly is great. I love Broly, even old Broly. Especially first movie, old Broly, because he's not stupid and not saying Kakarot all the time. He's intelligent and a demon. He's awesome. But back to this. Super Saiyan Broly Full Power is it's a power only Broly has, because it's kind of like the modern take of what legendary Super Saiyan looks like. It looks very, very, very similar, but it also has different properties that make it unique. Super Saiyan Broly Full Power has that Zenkai boost of legendary Super Saiyan, but to an insane level. The Zenkai boost that is happening in the Full Power Broly form is way different to what happens with the legendary Super Saiyan form. So this one, the Zenkai boost is almost like a 2 times effect than what the legendary Super Saiyan form would be. If you're confused, I know, I can get confused too. So the Zenkai boost is able to keep up with the Super Saiyan forms, the God form of what happens in the movie when Goku and Vegeta team up to fight him. And they can, and that form, Super Saiyan Broly Full Power, can beat the shit out of perfected blue Super Saiyan God, which is crazy. Like, that's absolutely crazy. This form is able to keep up with Super Saiyan God Blue / Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, whatever you want to call it, in its perfected state. Like, it takes a fusion in the perfected Super Saiyan Blue form, where Super Saiyan Broly Full Power's Zenkai boost can't keep up with where the fusion is, and that's why he's able to beat Broly and not even get a scratch on him. Like, Broly doesn't, in that form, doesn't get a hit on Gogeta. which is fucking crazy. Crazy. Moving on, we have Golden Great Ape, which is used in Dragon Ball GT. It is essentially Great Ape with Super Saiyan abilities. It's a precursor to becoming Super Saiyan 4. Even if you are able to go into the Great Ape form and keep control in its original state, you do lose your mind when you go into the Golden Great Ape form. And then once you control it, you are then condensed back down into a humanoid state, unlocking Super Saiyan 4. Goku goes through it naturally. Vegeta has to get a Blitz Wave ray to shoot the Blitz Wave into him, and then he can unlock Golden Great Ape and then condense it down into Super Saiyan 4. So next up we have the aforementioned Super Saiyan 4. Now this form is cool as fuck. This form is anime exclusive only. Toriyama did not design it, but actually really likes the form. Did a cute little drawing for the artist who created it, giving his blessing to say that, you know what, I like this form, and I'm very proud of it. This form is using more of the primal state of the Super Saiyan and Great Ape transformations. Has the fur of the Great Apes, and you gain the tail back for Super Saiyan 4, because the tail actually increases the Saiyan's power just by a little bit, but it's still very important to unlock Super Saiyan 4. This form also has different coloring, as you might notice. So Goku's Super Saiyan 4 actually has a lighter reddish pink fur, whereas Vegeta's is just a straight up red. Vegeta's hair also has brown through it, whereas Goku's is just straight up black, which is a fun little difference between the two. And then once fusion has occurred, it's reversed. The hair goes red and the fur goes brown, as shown here with Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. So next up, we have a pretty recent one actually for Super Saiyan 4, and it's called Super Saiyan 4 Full Power. Now, it looks essentially the same as Super Saiyan 4, but it has more of an aura added to it. There's a bit more purple going on, and a lot more red. You could also kind of see a bit of Kaioken in there, and you're probably wondering why Kaioken's not on there. It's technically a technique, not a transformation, and it's also not for Saiyans, it's for everyone, anyone can use it. So, Super Saiyan 4 Power increases the power of a Super Saiyan 4 by at least 2, like 2 times I should say, not by adding 2 to it. But this power up is used so far in Dokkan Battle, which is the card game, and Super Card. It's at the moment primarily a Japan exclusive, and I believe the Dragon Ball Heroes anime has plans of including it, or has included it, along with a bunch of the what if characters like Super Saiyan 4 Broly, Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, Super Saiyan 4 Gohan, all that sort of shit. Like, Dokkan's pretty cool for that sort of thing. And it's interesting that they're adding to these forms going forward, which makes you think, hey, it's pretty likely that we're going to get Super Saiyan 4 added back into the canon going forward, because there is talk in the manga of Goku and Vegeta wanting to learn more of the primal side of the Saiyans, and that's where we are at the moment. So we're coming up to the final 5, it looks like. So this one is another weird one. It's technically not a Super Saiyan form. This one's called Godlike Saiyan / Saiyan Beyond God. Now, so far, Goku is the only one that did this. He kind of did it in the Universe 6 arc and a little bit with Resurrection F. So this form is essentially a Saiyan who has unlocked Super Saiyan God and is using God Ki in his natural state, or their natural state, I should say. It's kind of a weird form. There's not a lot of information about it. It's kind of just that sort of greyish white aura around when someone's powering up. It keeps them physically in the fight without having to transform, which is very viable going into battles against, Frieza and all that, and especially Hit later on. So it's a good conserving of energy and ki, but without having to you know, expend a lot of it to ignite the God forms. So next up, we're going into my favorite Super Saiyan form, and that's Super Saiyan God. What can I say about Super Saiyan God other than it's cool as fuck? Super Saiyan God is so beautiful in its simplicity, causing sort of like a reverting of what a transformation is all about, going back to the fundamentals of what Super Saiyan is and the Super Saiyan lineage and Saiyan lineage in general. The God form reduces muscle mass to increase speed and attack power. The key energy blasts that are used in this form, to the point when it was released, was stronger than anything. It was stronger. The key that a Super Saiyan God could use was stronger than Super Saiyan 4 because it was mixed with God Ki energy. Later on, when they introduced Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan / Blue, they don't really use God as much anymore, which is a shame because this form is fucking great. This is a great form, beautiful form. I love the hair. I love that there's slight tweaks to it. It's not the base form hair as you would figure it would be. There's actually small differences. You can see that there's a little bit of hair spiking up on Goku around his crown area. There's bits sticking up there. Trunks has also unlocked the Super Saiyan God form in Dokkan and in other material, like Hero Mission and stuff like that. And his hair also has a slight peaking of the hair at the ends, because the form isn't meant to be stressful on the body. It's not meant to expend a huge amount of energy. It is allowing God Ki into a Saiyan who has unlocked the Super Saiyan ability and allowing them to feel God Ki energy into a way where they don't have to worry about using regular Ki and using God Ki. It's just God Ki all the way through. So next up we got Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, or Super Saiyan Blue. This form is when a Saiyan who has access to God Ki uses a Super Saiyan form in it while using God Ki, causing the blue effect. It is stronger than Super Saiyan God by about 2 times, which is upsetting for me because I'm a Super Saiyan God mark, and I love that sort of shit. A lot of people would actually argue that the Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan form / Super Saiyan Blue should be called Super Saiyan God because it is a Super Saiyan using God Ki energy, and then people think that the red form should just be called God form or God mode. But it is what it is. You can't change it. You can't go back and retroactively change names and stuff like that, despite the fact that Dragon Ball's done that many times. But we'll just ignore that. So next up we have Super Saiyan Rose. This is a form used by Zamasu, who has taken over the body of Goku in an alternate timeline, and in this reality, Super Saiyan Rose is technically Super Saiyan Blue, but using the energy of an actual god and not just God Ki, has caused the form to be rose in color. There's a lot of color theory behind it as to what rose represents. You know, rose is represented by perfection, the dispelling of imperfections, and purity. And that's some of the aspects of what Zamasu is all about in the storyline. You know, he wants to get rid of the impurity of mortals, and the gods are the only ones that should remain and be in control of the world and the universe. But yeah, this form is cool as fuck. It's got a lot of cool forms in of itself. There is a perfected form that is used in the manga briefly, but it's kind of forgotten about. No one really talks about it. It's a lot like Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan / Super Saiyan Blue perfected. But, you know, it's a case of offshoots, which is what we're all about. We all like offshoots. So, we're at the end now, and this is the one where I was kind of like, does this count? And you're probably thinking, well, you've talked about 20 other bullshit forms, why should this one not count? And the only reason I'm tossing and turning about why this counts is because I'm pretty sure they're saving this one to be actually canon for Goku later on, and it's Super Saiyan White. So this form is used when Goku Black and Zamasu fuse together with the Patara earrings and make fused or merged Zamasu. The hair has the big bang of Zamasu, and then the rest is sort of like your regular Super Saiyan form. But the reason why I'm not sure if I should include this is because I don't think this counts as a Super Saiyan transformation more so than it is just Zamasu's white hair, which is inherent with gods and Kais, that they have white hair, taking over the color scheme of what Rosé is. I think it's just that. I don't think this counts as a Super Saiyan form, but it is in technically the Super Saiyan mode when they fuse, so that's why I've chucked it here. It's a really cool look, and I think it's one of the best designed villains Super had. Didn't stick the landing with the ending, but it was a really cool transformation to see, and is one of my favorite villains. But yeah, look at that, we got through it. We got through it. I've been doing this for like an hour because I kept fucking it up. But anyway, so that's all the Saiyan transformations that are inherent to the lineage of the Saiyan bloodline. If I've missed any, please let me know and I'll make a redux of this video and chuck it in. But yeah, these are the kind of the offshoots that I like to talk about, and I just had a lot of fun talking about it today. So if you like hearing about this sort of shit and you want to hear about more, like if you want to hear about Naruto stuff or like Bleach forms, just let me know. I like talking about offshoot forms and stupid shit in anime. Oh god, I love Dragon Ball. Don't we all? Don't we all? Don't we all? My lord. Anyway, thanks for sitting through that, and hopefully that gave you a little bit of information and insight into what Dragon Ball is all about. Making things, for no reason, as difficult as they need to be. Anyway, thank you. Catch you later.